Hello everyone, my name is Pravesh and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I built a simple decentralized application as part of Midnight Challenge hosted on dev community. So we'll go through the architecture, code and the UI of the project and also show you how to run it locally with Docker. So by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how this small dApp works in a step-by-step manner. So let's start with a quick overview. So this project has three components. Firstly, we have the connector 𝗧𝗧, which is a Flask application that stimulates sending transaction. Another one we have indexer 𝗧𝗧, which is another Flask app that provides account balance. And at last, we have our React front end, which where user can interact with the 𝗧𝗧 Midnight network. So instead of a real blockchain backend, these 𝗧𝗧 stimulate the flow of sending transaction and getting the account balance, so we can focus on understanding how the dApp structure works. So to make things simple, I have created this docker compose YAML file. So all I need to do is just run docker compose up -build. So this will start all the three services. The connector will be running on port 4000 and the indexer running on port 5000 and our application UI will be running on port 3000. So you can see in the logs that firstly our Midnight connector is up and running, and then we have the indexer up and running, and at last our application is available on localhost 1000. So let's just go on it. So the UI is super simple, but it demonstrates the key feature of the dApp. So in the UI we can send a 𝗧𝗧 transaction from one user to another and see the transaction hash returned by the connector. So we have provided the username as username1. So let's get the balance. So it returns a string between 100 to 1000. So basically it's a 𝗧𝗧 application. So we have a random integer here. So every time you click on get balance, you will get a different value. So let me show you that. And if you click on get transaction, you'll get the hash of the transaction, which is basically like the receipt for a transaction. Okay, so every time you click on get transaction, you'll get a different hash. So let's quickly look under the hood. So in the React app, we have application.js file that handles the UI. So let me show you that. So here we have our application.js file. So it uses state for addresses, balances and transaction hash, and it calls to a function which is get balance and send transaction, which lives inside the API.js file, which will uses to call the connector and the indexer API running inside the Docker container. So let me show you the API.js file. So we have two functions, send transaction and get balance, and it is fetching response from localhost 4000 on which our connector is running, and the get balance is fetching data from localhost 5000 on which our indexer is running. So the Flask apps are very minimal, one for transaction and another one for balance, but together they stimulate the kind of a backend a real blockchain dApp would interact with. So you might be wondering why this matters. So how does this fit in the Midnight challenge? So well, the Midnight ecosystem is all about confidential smart contract and secure dApps. So what we have built here is a starter template. It shows how a frontend can talk with Midnight style services, even though we are using 𝗧𝗧 right now. So the goal is to make it easy for developer to get started, experiment, and later plug into real Midnight nodes. So that's it. Now you have a working dApp sample complete with a connector, indexer, and a front-end UI. If you want to try out yourself, I have linked it down the GitHub link in the description box. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, share it among your network, and subscribe to my 𝗨𝗨 channel if you want to see me doing more of this kind of content. So once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, ciao.